We began today with breaking news, a deadly school shooting.
At this hour, police of all kinds of different agencies.
Investigators try to figure out where the weapon came from, what the person's movements were.
The horrific tragedy that took place in Newtown, Connecticut last Friday will forever live with us. And while sports has absolutely nothing to do with a person walking in a school and shooting 26 innocent people, it does have a way of eventually healing.
In many ways, athletes take the lead in expressing what we feel. Their actions can help us both in the grieving process, but also in the healing process, because they speak for us in many ways.
2 days following the events that unfolded, Sunday football was played. Millions watched to see how the sports landscape on that day would be handled.
Welcome to Foxborough, of course, with heavy hearts and with our thoughts and prayers with the victims and their families.
Teams, individual athletes, and coaches have visually and vocally expressed an outpouring of emotion.
I'm gonna walk into my house, I'm gonna walk upstairs, I'm gonna walk into 2 pink rooms, okay? With a 5-year-old and a 4-year-old laying in that pink room, with a bunch of teddy bears laying in that room. I'm gonna give them the biggest hug and the biggest kiss I've ever given them. And there's 20 families in Newport, Connecticut that are walking into a pink room with a bunch of teddy bears with nobody laying in those beds. And it's tragic.
And some even went the extra mile.
That family will remember that all their days.
This past Sunday, during their game in Atlanta, New York Giant Victor Cruz wrote a message on his shoe to remember Newtown victim Jack Pinto. Cruz was Jack's favorite player. The receiver kept his respects coming when he visited the Pinto family home on Tuesday.
When you visit a family that's going through so much and that's facing so much turmoil in their lives, and you meet their family and you see what kind of things they're going through, it just helps you look at life through a different lens, like I said, and it really changes your view of the way you used to look at things. Changes your view a little bit.
Jack Pinto was 6 years old. He was buried in a replica Cruz jersey. Pennsylvania flags across the state were lowered to half-staff immediately that day, and they remained that way until Tuesday at sundown. Here at the Eagles practice facility, they are still paying their respects.
There are a lot of people up in Connecticut that are suffering right now, man. It's a tragic thing that happened, so our hearts go out to them. And I know that's foremost on a lot of people's minds. So our hearts go out to them, but at the same time, where you're at right here, you try to appreciate your family.
I'm proud to grow up American. I'm proud to say I'm part of the greatest country ever. And that's got to stay that way. And it'll stay that way if we change. But we got to change.
Well, I think all of us are going through a similar process. We're trying together to make sense out of what happened and to see what kind of lessons we can draw from it. And yes, there's education can be had between parents and kids, between friends and friends, between adults. That I think it's really important in these kinds of traumatic situations that we stay together and try together to identify what are the lessons here that can help us heal now and to minimize the chances that these kinds of things can happen in the future.
Lisa Hillary, Comcast Sportsnet.